So when talking about Raziel, it's a little bit hard to say exactly what Raziel is supposed to be. The biggest problem comes from the fact that Soul Reaver 1 was supposed to be a conclusive game. It starts off and he's like a vampire wraith, or a vengeful spirit or something, and that kinda makes sense. In fact, his ability to eat souls isn't even really unique. Other vampires can do the same thing when they're killed and can't get back into their bodies. But as we go through Soul Reaver 2, we realize that not all the vampires are the same as what Raziel was. See, when Kain created Raziel and his brethren, Kain did so by putting a little bit of his own soul into their bodies. That means that, like Kain, they all share a connection to the Pillars somehow. And when the Pillars decay, so do they. This is why it was so important for Raziel to kill his brothers, and not just Kain alone. However, this whole thing with the Pillars leads to a lot of stuff that might be kind of a deus ex machina, maybe not. They never really finished the legacy of Kain, so there were a lot of questions that didn't get answered. They tied up some loose ends, but not all of them. For that matter, they never really explained where Raziel came from either. You're told by a god that he made you. He pulled your soul out from the abyss and reformed you into his wraith, his Reaver, to go and destroy Kain's soul. But as you go along in the series, this kind of falls into question. Like, a lot, cause it turns out that Raziel's part of a bunch of prophecies. You'll show up somewhere and someone will go, "Oh, Raziel, thank God you're here, I've been waiting since last Thursday, ever since we prayed you into existence." Or okay, it's not exactly like that, but it turns out that Raziel is like the chosen champion of 2 religions, 1 elder god, the savior of Nosgoth, and 1 timeline, and oh my goodness, does Raziel get a big head about all this. Personally, I think the game devs were probably making it up as they went along. Like, they had a plan, but they ditched it because they had to keep making changes. They're creative about it though, and I think it turns out for the better. So, anyway, let's get back to our game.
Hello everyone, I'm Taylor, this is Ray.
Hello, I'm Ray.
This is Ray, and this here is Peyton.
Who authorized the budget for these stairs? Yes.
Probably the same person who authorized a bridge that can only be used by pedestrians.
And then stuck vampire heads all over it.
Well, we're just going to see the Pillars, right? It's not like there should be any extensive trade networks leading to the Pillars.
There should be dozens of tourists and like 1 billion food stalls. Before I arrived here, I had a slightly different expectation for what ancient vampires would be like. I had imagined them to be more vicious and less hopelessly nailed to the ground. In my era, my brethren and I were absurdly dangerous, and it made sense that people would want to kill us. But these guys had nothing going for them. We are recreating cutscenes, by the way, in case you are just joining us.
Also the music, too.
Yep, this is not the game's original music.
How are they finding so many vampires to kill? Guys.
Yeah, that is kind of funny. You'd think that after, like, the 10th head on a spike, you would turn around and go the other way.
I just assumed that they were living in the woods or something.
So is this like a pack of deer crossing the highway, and the Seraphim are just shooting at them as they run by?
Maybe.
No, that is not likely because the vampires are weak to sunlight. Yes. They would not be out at this hour, or when it is raining, or laying down in the grass where the dew will burn their skin.
So vampires must ordinarily live in a very dry, very dark area.
Yes, so that means the Seraphim are carting the bodies out here to put them on display.
Must be some kind of government PR thing. Like maybe Mobius is telling everyone, "Hey, this is your tax dollars at work."
All these bloated, rotting corpses in the street is what your money is paying for. Not that healthcare that you wanted, or those public schools, or any of those other dumb domestic programs. Those are stupid.
Boy, I bet you anything though, the call for hospitals went way up once they started putting corpses in the streets.
If they do not like your policy, then they become the corpses. Yes.
The Pillars. I'd never seen them before they broke. They were so awe-inspiring and yet so disappointing. They would prove in time to be no more durable than porcelain toothpicks. And there was Kain, my idiot boss who'd spent centuries picking his teeth with their ruins. I was going to stab him.
Raziel, the door was very loud and you are standing downwind where Kain can smell you. Yes.
Wait, I wasn't ready.
Oh, well that is dreadful. Kain waits here then. Raziel comes back and sneaks upon Kain again.
I don't need to do over, Kain, I just wasn't ready, that's why you're not so smart.
Raziel, did you stop to think that maybe—
You shut up, I still have the upper hand.
It is Kain who has the upper Kain. That is why they call it the upper Kain.
That is not a real phrase and you know it. And would you turn around? I am sick of talking to the back of your head.
Raziel, Kain has come to believe that the true upper Kain lies with fate. It is she who controls us all.
Kain, you are so bad at holding a conversation. You're talking while you walk away from me. I caught something about the upper Kain.
I said fate holds the upper Kain.
It's not gonna become a common phrase if you keep using it.
What I am saying is that the pillars are very important, Raziel. Yes, they are like a circle.
They're circular from a top-down view, if that's what you mean.
No! Like the snake that eats its tail. The Arboros.
It's pronounced Ouroboros, Kain.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
Then I have been pronouncing it wrong for a long time then. I cannot believe that no one else corrected me.
We always just found it easier to work around you. It was not worth arguing.
Now I feel terrible. Yes. What else didn't you tell me?
We didn't like your national anthem.
I spent weeks on that. Yes, it failed because you didn't sing with enough spirit.
The anthem didn't take because it sucked, Kain. You were a lousy writer.
Do not be so quick to pass judgment on Kain. Allow Kain to explain his artistic vision. Yes. You see, it is based on when Kain was first traveling and believed he was the savior of Nosgoth.
Oh my god, Kain! Kain to Pillars!
Curses! Kain missed his cue! Kain had this big speech planned for when the Pillars went corrupt. He had a thing he was going to say. The timing was very good, yes. Anyway, it was something like Ariel has died. Yes. This is when she died.
Right now?
Well, not right now, no. Maybe like a couple of hours ago, I am not sure. But this is when Not Raptor finds her boyfriend, and then he goes crazy, because he is the pillar of the mind that makes the Pillars go corrupt.
I know. Restoring the balance is my second big motivation for killing you.
Well, because Kain is corrupted as the baby. Yes, and he finds Ariel, his predecessor, who is hunting the Pillars, and ghostly Ariel, she says to Kain, Kain, kill the other Guardians.
Which you did really well until it got to your turn.
It was not fair to Kain.
And what you do isn't fair to Nosgoth, Kain, so where's the justice?
That is the question that Kain prompts Raziel to ask himself. Raziel has met Ariel, yes? She tells Raziel to kill Kain, yes. But what does she not tell Raziel? Kain's soul is bound to Raziel.
If you're appealing to my sense of self-preservation, I warn you I have none.
No one wants to live forever, Raziel. Such a fate would be cruel. But this is fate for you, and she does not plan well for us. The Pillars belong to Kain and his sons, yes, whether broken or pristine. And so Kain is given the choice. He is killed, along with all vampires, and perhaps the Pillars come back. Or Kain lives, and the decay continues.
I don't see a relative drawback to the first one.
Heads Raziel wins, tails Kain loses. But there is a third option.
If this requires more effort than stabbing you, I'm not gonna do it.
You'll see. The answers are hidden nearby. Yes.
Just tell me your stupid plan.
It is simple. When fate gives you the coin to flip, instead, why not simply run off with the coin?
Well, we lost him. Good job killing Kain, guys.
I like Kain so much. Yes.
If I had to rate that encounter on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being Kain still alive and 10 being Kain dead, I would have gotten a 1. Maybe a 2, because I finally told him his anthem sucked. Kain would show himself again. In the meanwhile, I could have a look around. But it sure was nice of whoever built these pillars to let us know that we had to go into spectral mode.
That's the advantage of having a Time Guardian. You just look into the future and you say, hey, build this stuff over here.
Boy, that has gotta be hard on some engineers. You're telling them like, oh, it's gotta last for at least 3,000 years.
Not only that, but you tell the engineers that they've got to carve out the mountain in just such a way that there are only stairs in the spirit world.
Do you think you have to go to a special school for that? Like, is there a master's program?
Who are these Greenly Beanleys?
Oh, those are the Slaw.
Are you just making that up?
No, I read online that they're called the Slaw. I don't know if they're ever referred to as that in the game. I can't remember if they were in Soul Reaver 1 or not.
Right, no. They are not the Slaws. They are Greenly Beanleys. Yes.
Okay. Well, the Greenly Beanleys are like spectral parasites. They eat souls. These frickin' birds had to be about the dumbest magical spies I had ever seen. Because they vanished in a puff of smoke when I got close to them, it was obvious they weren't real, but I suppose they were everywhere. Whoever was spying on me apparently didn't care if I knew.
It is Randolph, the Pigeon King! Yes.
Peyton, those are crows.
They are gray. What, did they go through the wash too many times? Those are pigeons.
Nuh-uh. Listen to them talk to each other. They're crows.
There's not a lot of pure gray bird breeds, though. And they could be go-away birds.
What's a go-away bird?
They're a breed of African forest bird. This is Nosgoth, so...
I approached a decorated set of doors, which might have been very old or might have been fairly recent. It was hard to gauge exactly what I was looking at. The archways weren't typical from what you'd expect from local architecture, but the fresco was in good condition despite exposure to the elements. But most baffling was this depiction of a blue-winged vampire. That and the insignia of the Reaver down below. Like a nervous virgin, I lined up the arm sword with the hole in the door and stuck it in. I felt an immediate release, and the passageway beckoned to me. There was no going back now, so I came inside.
God damn it, Ray.
What?
Your whole narration, come on.
Don't shush, Taylor. Raziel's really dramatic about everything. This was a good setup.
Don't give me that.
Psst. It's okay to be lowbrow sometimes.
On the rare occasion, maybe, but it's low-hanging fruit.
Yeah, but it goes really well after a discussion about the fresco and the age and whatever.
Speaking of lowbrow comedy, what is with the methane monsters?
I don't know, but they're hunting us by throwing little balls of green... I don't know, something.
Goobers. Yes.
Well, I know they don't have souls, so they're one of the monsters we can just beat on and not worry about the Reaver.
The Reaver still eats our soul.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not competing for food.
So these are the shadow monsters, yes? They hit us with a lack of photons. Yes.
That is the strange nature of a shadow monster. Yes.
See, I could never get my head around whenever they have two gods, and there's a light god and a darkness god, how the darkness god is always evil. Why is that? Because doesn't light always consume darkness? It's not the other way around? Oh, you guys hear that?
Yeah, it's Tony J.
Oh, that's cool. He's calling to Raziel.
I heard that whenever Tony J voice acted, an angel got its wings, and then met a pretty girl. And then they would just talk. I mean, it didn't always go anywhere.
Oh, that's okay. You know, when you're single, it's good just to meet people you have stuff in common with. I discovered an inner chamber that seemed to be a subterranean extension of the pillars. On the wall were more frescoes, and I had to admit, at first I was excited because I thought they were more illustrations of me, but then I realized that there were too many of me. These were murals of some kind of battle between winged creatures, whether real or imagined. They were shown raising the pillars, which somehow killed their enemies, or maybe banished them to hell. There was a lot of lightning and suffering, and could have been a contemporary piece or like a political cartoon. Then they got stink lines, and they were really sad. Maybe on fire, not stinky. But they were eating a deer, and that could have been a cultural thing. But then they draw this guy with the Reaver, and he's okay. Everyone else is like biting themselves on the arms and stuff. So I think they had a positive take on the Reaver.
A masked illusion,
Oh my god.
Raziel.
Oh my god.
Relax, Raziel. It's just your friend.
Elder Squid? Oh, frig, you startled me.
Raziel, I'd like to set the record straight regarding those murals. Now, you may think they depict the plight of an ancient race and the birth of vampirism, but that's wrong.
Oh, is that what they don't depict?
Was that sarcasm, Raziel? You can tell me, I'm open to a good laugh.
What are you doing here, Elder Squid?
Oh, me? I am the source of life and death. I am, I was, I will always be the source of life and death. I'm omnipresent. But the same is not said of you, Raziel, so what are you doing here?
What are you, my mom?
In a sense, yes. I gave you life so that you could carry out a task. A specific task. Is it done, Raziel?
Well, for giving me life, you sure did a lousy job.
I should have been a fairy godmother. I wouldn't get this kind of lip from Pinocchio.
Well, Pinocchio wasn't a real boy to start with.
You had died, Raziel. I revived you, put a bit of myself inside of you.
Funny, that sounds like what Kain did, doesn't it? And I'm not real happy about that right now, am I? Besides, you'd look awful in a dress.
There you go. Cutting down my dreams again. It's funny, though.
What do you mean, again? Look, Elder Squid, I've been thinking about this a lot, and I think it's time we cut off this mutual relationship.
You want to leave? Well, you can't. I exist at all points in time, and I knew that you may eventually come to feel trapped as a result of this relationship, but we haven't crossed that threshold yet. Besides, you must be aware that when you feed, I feed as well, so it's a mutually beneficial relationship. There's no reason to leave.
You didn't tell me that the corrupt Time Guardian was one of your servants.
Oh, there. He's not always corrupt. He wasn't always corrupt, and of course I had no control over him while he was corrupt. You are my best servant, Raziel, and I have many, many servants. You are my best. It is you who does the most for Nosgoth. That's why you have a special place with me. No need to fear Mobius or what it is that he's doing or what he believes. Just keep your eyes on the task of killing Kain and everything will improve, I promise. Take Kain's soul. For Nosgoth. For yourself. Remember what he did to you. I will purify that soul and make it whole again.
Yeah, about that.
Fine, let him throw you in the abyss again. Have some dignity, Raziel. Don't go crawling back to him like an abused spouse. Just try to stay focused on why you were so mad at him in the first place and do what needs to be done.
So we took a lot of liberties with that conversation.
Really? How many? And who's the voice actor?
Just some lady I met online. But anyway, the Elder God is actually a lot more authoritative. He's supposed to be all like, Raziel, do my bidding. But I think what we're doing is pretty fitting for a soul-eating god. But anyway, I think that's gonna be it for now. Thanks for playing with this, everybody.